Good evening, everyone. Happy Tuesday. It's Tuesday, yes. Welcome to the HINAC7 Humanities Art Contest How to Apply webinar. I will be sharing my screen shortly for folks to be able to follow along in the conversation around how to enter the Humanities Art Contest. Bear with me just one moment. And if folks can let me know once they see my slide audibly, because I can no longer see people once I share my screen.
Okay, it just says double click to enter full screen mode. That's all.
It says it on your end?
Mm-hmm.
That's weird.
Now we see it.
Okay.
There we go.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much, Octavia.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes, you are in the right place. I know there's lots of webinars going on. So grateful that folks were able to make time out of their busy schedules to be on for the HINAC7 Humanities Art Contest. Yes. So this webinar, for anybody who joins late or is listening to the recording, you obviously you got it, and are able to follow along. Please follow up with questions if you have them. Also, for those who are on now, just maintain your device on mute to eliminate background noise in the recording so that those listening can catch all the information. Also, during this time, feel free to use the chat box for questions about the art contest throughout the webinar. We'll also may have some links being shared on some other things with deadlines throughout our time together. And as I said at the top, the recording of this webinar with the slides and the actual application link will go live as soon as the recording is made available. So where you see the words here on this slide, webinar recording link, that will then be a different color. And that's where you'll be able to click for the application. I get the pleasure and honor to do this amazing and beautiful work to prepare for a great time at HINAC with my good sis, Octavia Lewis. You want to come off mute and introduce yourselves?
Hello,
Self?
everyone. My name is Octavia. My pronouns are she and her, and I'm hailing from Ellenwood, Georgia, and I am here representing Positively Trans, the National Advisory Board, and I'm so happy to be here with you all this evening.
Yes. Thank you, Octavia. And for anybody who is on and doesn't know who I am Kamari Laffrey, she, her pronouns, co-ED at the Sarah Project, and I'm based out of Florida. So just to go over what we'll be talking about during this time, what to expect, the overview of the art contest. We'll talk about the entry guidelines. There have been some small tweaks and changes for anybody who may be familiar with the process. So if you need points of clarity, please feel free to ask. We want to be sure that we're being very, very clear about what the guidelines are and the criteria. We'll also go over the application process and timeline. We know that HINAC has a lot of moving pieces that are happening at the same time. So we want to be sure that everyone has the information that they need. And if it gets too confusing, it also helps if you ask us questions. It keeps us accountable and it makes sure that everybody's on the same page. We'll also explain the selection process, what the prize is for the art contest, and then also have space for any questions that folks may have. Is this me? I'm sorry. So confused right now. Yes, so the overview. HINAC7, gosh, we've been doing this for 14 years. HINAC is every other year. I could be off by a few years because we had to skip, but it is comprised and led by the Sarah Project in partnership with PWN, Positively Trans, and the U.S. People Living with HIV Caucus. Octavia, did you have something for me, or I thought you came off mute?
No, it was just froze on my end. I thought it might have been
Oh,
my
okay.
connection.
All right. No worries. No worries. All right, we're gonna keep going. If my screen, come on. Okay. So HIV is not a crime, as I said earlier, is a biannual or every other year gathering of people living with HIV. It includes also HIV policy leaders and other stakeholders, primarily from the United States, that educate and train advocates in centering people living with HIV leadership to end HIV criminalization, mass incarceration, with a racial, gender, and social justice lens. That is the ultimate, like, every year that premise of the training academy does not change. The art contest is just a component of how people can express their advocacy through art. And so I dropped this slide in because Keith Haring is one of my favorite artists, and has been known for saying art is for everyone. And it really is. It's a part of storytelling. It especially helps express and explain nuanced conversations. So we felt it was really important as organizers of such a complex issue to bring in this component, because not everybody can talk to a legislator. Not everybody wants to talk to a legislator. Not everybody wants to read a bill. But everybody may have another way of how to express themselves. So we feel like the art contest is another way to do that. I think now, oh no, one more slide, sorry. Okay. So the main things we want folks to remember, above all the words, is have fun doing this. Remember that your voice matters. Remember that this is a component that the whole entire training academy centers the voices of people living with HIV, and that includes the art. And that when you're thinking about how you want to express yourself, there's lots of prompts and ways to do that we offer you as guidance. But ultimately, does your concept challenge stigma? And please also be accurate. Like if you're going to use data, like in a spoken word piece, just make sure you have sources that you're pulling, accurate sources you're pulling that data from. Don't make up percentages. Don't make up data, basically. Um, we're hoping that folks' submissions, and are not required to, but we're just hoping this helps you think through it, that your submissions will answer questions like, how does art help you express the complex parts of yourself, your world, and your experience as a part of a movement to decriminalize HIV, and whatever that intersection of criminalization looks like. Also, the question of how does the United States unjust carceral system impact you or that movement? And how can justice transform the way we see ourselves and others? So those are just some prompts to help you think about your art. At this point, I'm going to pass over to Octavia and just say next slide when you're ready, love.
Ready. So entry for art categories overview. Next slide. So this request for submission is open to all people, prioritizing those of us that are living and thriving with HIV. These submissions will be accepted from anyone who identifies as an artist. So again, your day job might be, working nonprofit or working other 9 to 5, but if you consider yourself to be an artist, then you are who we are asking to submit. Strong consideration will go to people living with HIV. And again, as Kamaria stated, um, this session, or we know that HINAC is for those of us that are living and thriving with HIV. Next slide, please. Entry guidelines. Submissions can be accepted from people living with HIV from outside of the United States. However, HIV is not a crime. Planning committees and partner organizations cannot award the grand prize to submissions that are not within the continental United States at this time. So even though we cannot um, offer the grand prize, we would still love to hear from all of our siblings, no matter where you are around the globe. Please feel free to submit, but again, we cannot award the grand prize at this moment. Global submissions can be recognized at the HINAC gathering. So instead of saying they can be, we're saying they will be. Next slide, please. We have 3 categories for you to choose from to enter. You may enter any of the 3 categories up to 3 times, but can only have the chance to be selected as a winner in one. No more than 3 art submissions can be submitted in total by an individual artist. So again, the categories are vision, written, and spoken word. And again, you can submit to all three of these. Artists may not duplicate art entry under pen or pseudonym, so it does have to be your name. Previous winners are encouraged to support as reviewers in the selection process. Previous winners have a maximum of 3 total times across any of the 3 categories that they can win a scholarship to any HINAC. So if you are a winner and you have won once in vision, once in written, and once in spoken word, you cannot um, enter to enter this process until the next cycle, correct, Kamaria? Because you can't do it this time if you already won 3 times, correct?
So starting this HINAC 7, if you have, let's say this year you win in the written category and the next HINAC you want to enter the art contest, you can. You can just only enter in the vision and the whatever 2 categories are left. If you win in all 3 categories over the next iterations of HINAC, then you're no once you win 3 times, you're no longer eligible.
Thank you.
Mhm.
And so, as Kamaria just stated, if you win the HINAC 7 written category, you are no longer eligible for that category in the future. Next slide, please. Entry guidelines. Successful submissions will follow these guidelines. So they are not limited to, but these are just some of the guidelines that we are making you aware of. They do not include excessive vulgar language, images, or words describing nudity or explicit violence. So please, no imagery of showing, domestic violence, intimate partner violence, or murder, anything of that nature. Pieces that are selected as winners are subject to suggested editing by HINAC Committee for mass production, not in the names, images, or any other identifying information of any living person without express permission. Use of AI generated art or chat GPT submission is strongly discouraged. We are asking that this be an original piece from you, the artist. Next slide, please. So, successful submissions will follow these guidelines. Pieces must be your own original work, either something you have already created or something you created especially for this project. HINAC 7 organizers will not accept any responsibility for plagiarized or uncredited works. Works must be your own. If it is determined at any time during the selection process, during HINAC, or even after winners have been selected, that work was submitted outside of these guidelines, HINAC partner organizations reserve the right to remove that submitted artwork from any and all recognitions within and beyond the HIV is Not a Crime Training Academy space, as well as reserve the right to not allow applicant to participate in any future HINAC Training Academy Art Contest. Next slide. The visual the visual art category criteria. Please submit a high resolution image, JPG or PDF for upload. You do not have to mail in the original art. If you choose to bring your art to HINAC, we are not responsible for shipping or storage of your artwork. All mediums are welcome with no size restrictions. Illustrations, collages, paintings, sculptures, drawings, digital art, cross stitch, sculpture, blankets. You decide and show us by submitting a photo of all five, especially if it is a 3D object like a sculpture. Next slide. So, our written category criteria: poems, letters, short stories, flash fiction, Short essays, scripts, etc. may be accepted for upload with a word count of a minimum of 250, but no more than 750 words. And the last, and for the spoken elements of rap, hip, musical readings, comedy routines, or monologues as an audio or video file, not to exceed 3 minutes total. If your submission incorporates licensed music, please express you do not own the rights in your artist statement. If you do not do this, 9 times out of 10, we probably will not be able to show your presentation with music that, again, you did not have explicit rights from that artist, or you have not explicitly expressed that you do not own the rights to this. Simply mentioning the name of licensed artists or referring to their work is acceptable. Next slide.
Thank you,
And I
Octavia.
think this is you, love.
Yeah, so I'm back up. Now we'll be going over the application process. And please, as of right now, I can't see Q&A, but if folks have questions, drop them and we'll pull them at the end of the webinar. I know this is a lot of information and we're reading a lot of slides to you all, but it's just to make sure that we're covering everything and that we're as clear as we possibly can be. So the deadline for this, y'all have a little bit of a time. March 19th, 2027, next year at 11 p.m. Eastern. So if you're on West Coast, I apologize. But I have to be up to close the application and I'm not staying up till 2 a.m. So, 11 p.m. Any file attachments must be received by that time. And I'll probably say this a couple times. If you have any issues with submitting your application because you have a file attachment like a video or audio and you're instructed to email that separately, you still have to do it by March 19th, 11 p.m. Eastern, please. Multiple sections of the application, which you'll see when it goes live, require you to read. There's a lot of reading and declare that you understand your rights as an artist for this contest and what will be done with the work once your work is submitted and if your work is selected. No partial or late applications will be reviewed or accepted. So let's say you fill out the form and want to email your file. If we only get the form but don't get your email, there will not be a follow-up to find your file, or vice versa. If we only get the file and we never get the application, there will not be follow-up to find that information. Extenuating circumstances, if someone communicates emergencies or things like that, that's fine. But at the deadline time, there won't be follow-up for folks to find the pieces that we need. So please stay on top of your application. As an artist, you retain full ownership and copyright of your work. And by entering this contest, you're granting permission for the HINAC Training Academy organizers the right to display and reprint your work for advocacy purposes. Your work will not be sold or used for profit by planning committee or HINAC partner organizations. If you experience, again, as I said earlier, any technical difficulties with your submission, we need to receive a notification of that before the deadline. So please, if you're having issues, please communicate it. Also, group submissions cannot be accepted because we can only award the prize to individuals. So if you're doing like a spoken word that like has a double scripted element, only one of those individuals will be able to win the prize. So we encourage people to not submit group submissions. Folks may ask, how many submissions can I enter? Each artist, each individual may, oh, I didn't type that right, may send up to 3 pieces of art per the 3 categories of visual, written, and spoken, which means one person can enter visual, written, and spoken, which means you can enter up to 3 times. You will only be eligible to win for only one of those categories. So you can enter all 3, but you're only going to be picked for one if you're chosen. If an individual submits work in all 3 categories, they may only win in one. We are very repetitive for a reason. So apologies for the redundancy. If you submit your work 3 times in one category, still only one of those submissions may be eligible for winning. So if you only want to do spoken word and you submit 3 files for spoken word, we're only going to pick one of those 3. If you're chosen, you're not required to enter all 3 categories. And also, no more than 3 art submissions can be submitted in total. If we receive a 4th submission from you, it will not be considered. So if that 4th one was the best you had and you didn't want us to consider it before the deadline, shoot us an email and we'll just rearrange things, because we know folks do get excited and maybe think of something later. Just let us know so we know what we're reviewing. But if you send us that email after the deadline, it's likely anything received as a 4th or beyond submission will not be considered. An artist may not increase or duplicate any art entry under a pen or pseudonym. You can enter your original artwork that way. There's a question that asks you, which do you prefer? But let's say you're entering like the written contest, the written category, and you submit a poem under Jane Doe. And then you want to submit the poem under your name, and it's the same thing. Neither of those will be, if we realize it's the same thing, neither one are going to be considered. I hope that part makes sense. Um, Another question folks may ask is, how do I submit my file? So for written, visual, and spoken word, the application will provide an option for you to upload your file through the form. Some folks may have issues because it is a Google form, so we do understand. For spoken word submissions, you will need to submit an audio or video file. And by that, I mean, like, some people can record on Zoom, like by themselves. Um, Record to the cloud or however you want to store it, and then save that link and submit that as their submission. Or they can do it on their phone, or they can do it. I just blanked on the other way that people were doing this besides Zoom. Oh, YouTube. You can upload a file to YouTube, like in your private, and just don't publish it publicly, and send that as a link as well. However, that feels comfortable for you, as long as we can open it. But you'll need to send it along with a text version of your submission in line with the word count and time requirement. So if you're concerned with the format of how your art will display, you can, and there's a space where you can type sent via email, and we'll just know to look for that as your text. There's a space for artist statement, and there's another section for something, but there's spaces for you to just type something, and we'll know to look for your email. And those emails we will follow up on to find the other piece before the deadline. Just be sure that if you email, put in the subject HINAC7 art written entry. That way we know when we see it what it is. If this email isn't received with your application, your entry will be considered incomplete. And just a reminder, applications, including any file attachments, must be received by 11 p.m. Eastern on Friday, March 19th, 2027. I'll fix that before we send it out. Yeah, we're not going back in time. Is this still me? Yes. Yes, yes. Okay. Artist statement. You've heard me mention the artist statement a few times. This is just a place for you to explain your art. Sometimes people can look at images or listen to a poem and just not get it. And so sometimes it's helpful if the artist offers where they're coming from with what they submitted. So you'll be asked to select from a series of themes of where your art entry fits. Not required, they're just guides to help folks guide us to what you were thinking. Be sure you do select a theme that you want your art, how you want your art perceived, and you can select more than one if you'd like. This doesn't impact your scoring; it just helps the selection panel with seeing your vision and better understanding how they're looking at it. And this is where you provide the brief background on your concept of your art and what inspired you to create it. And it doesn't, again, directly impact the scoring. So this is not something that we're going to be like, oh, that just doesn't make sense, so we're just not going to select it. We just want to better understand. So the more you explain within the word count, the more clear you are, the better your chances of us understanding your art. Um, Themes and explanations can be answered in the following questions. We read these at the top, but how does art express the complex parts of yourself, your world, and your experience as a part of a movement to decrim HIV? How does our unjust carceral system impact you or that movement? And or how can justice transform the way we see ourselves and others? So those are just guides to help you answer the question, which builds the statement. So we really want people in your response to interrogate the concepts around criminalization and who gets erased from reform when we talk about reform, and what does liberation look like, what actually looks like for you, and what we're building beyond criminalization reform. Like, we know that HIV criminalization is harmful, but what next? Like, what's after that? So investigate those concepts. I'm going to pass back over to Octavia.
Awesome. So now we are about to talk about the selection process along with some important dates and deadlines. So with stage one, the online application deadline for that is March 19th, 2027 at 11 p.m. Eastern time. So please make sure that you submit it by 11 p.m. After that, your work will not be accepted. Interested artists must complete the online application. You will submit an application form and your artwork through this form. All applicants will be notified that their online submission has been successfully processed, received for the selection process. So you should get a alert or an email stating that again yours has been successfully processed and received. Next slide, please. Stage two, that is selection and winner announcements, which will be March 25th, 2027. After the selection panelists review and score submissions based on guidelines outlined during this webinar and in the application, winners will be notified that their submission is selected and receive further instructions. So remember in stage one, the date for that was the 19th, yes, March 19th, and then the winners will be announced on the 25th. Um, HINAC7 contest reviewers will score the submission and the prize winners will be notified no later than the 25th. So, no later than the 25th to ensure winners can secure their arrangements for travel logistics to attend HINAC7. Artists will be honored and encouraged to show their work at HIV If Not a Crime 7 Training Academy during the last night reception, which is our open mic night slash karaoke night. So, yes, we'll definitely be looking forward to seeing your submission. Next slide, please. Stage three, which is our postcard campaign. Postcards with the print versions of submitted works will be created and printed in time to be distributed at the HIV Is Not a Crime 7 Training Academy. So yes, for those that will be submitting theirs, please know that again, we are so looking forward to disseminating those. And people actually take those and actually keep them, and they're actually memorable. So for those that are doing that, please know that it will be in print and they look beautiful when they're done. Postcards can be used to mail um, oh, excuse me. Postcards can be used to mail to elected officials and other community members who need to know more about HIV criminalization. And there's no better way to do this by showing the work of those of us that are living and thriving with HIV. Next slide, please. So for the postcard campaign, once the accepted pieces have been announced, and artists agree to participate in the HIV Is Not a Crime postcard project, there may be media involvement, i.e., meaning interviews with artists for TV, radio, print, or online journalism. So, for those that are um, presenting their postcards to as submission, please be camera ready because you never know when your opportunity might present itself. And because this project should showcase the work of people living with HIV, HIV positive people involvement in this project could mean public disclosure of positive HIV status. So what that means is if you are not out about your status or you have not told people that are close to you in any way, then this is something that you seriously want to think about. Because again, this is not us trying to out anyone or put someone in an unsafe position, but please know that we are proud to highlight the work that individuals living and thriving with HIV um, produce. And so, if this is not where you are on your journey, please think about that. Anonymous submissions will be considered if a pen or pseudonym is utilized, but not for duplicated entries. Next slide, please. So, scholarship to HINAC7. The prize cannot be exchanged or transferred for monetary value and only applies to HINAC7. Winners will have travel secured. If anything arises where a winner can no longer attend, please, 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 it is important to communicate that immediately because funds are not endless. It takes a lot to actually put on these events. And if you are not able to attend, please, please, I am begging that you let Sarah know so that others may have the opportunity to come and experience this great training. But again, please communicate that immediately. No show for scholarship attendees risk ineligibility for in future HINAC activities. So please, please communicate. That is all we are asking. We know emergencies arise, but as long as you're able to communicate that in a timely manner, we would definitely understand. Next slide, please. Yeah, did it change? Oh, there we go. At this time, global entries cannot be considered for grand prize, as we reiterated earlier, but entrants still encouraged to fundraise to attend with the understanding language translation resources cannot be guaranteed at this time. So again, while we would love to make sure that we have translation equipment for everyone, it is very costly to try to do that in every language um, so that everyone will have their accessible needs met. So at this stage, we are not eligible to do so. Not saying that we wouldn't like to, but at this time, because of funding restraints, we are not um, eligible to have all of those access needs met. But we still encourage you to strongly attend, to fundraise if possible, to come to HINAC Training Academy. Next slide. So I think I had got booted off, but with that being said, are there any questions, concerns, or comments that anyone have at this moment? And Kamari, I will turn it back over to you, though.
Thank you, Octavia. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing. That's the end of the slides. I think the next slide just says apply now. That's for folks looking at the recording. I know that was a lot of information, a lot of dates, and a lot of context. So if folks have any clarifying questions they'd like to ask, I'm realizing in real time that there's some things I need to change in the slides before we send out, but it won't change information we gave you. It's just like formatting sentences that don't quite reading it. Now I'm hearing it out loud. I'm like, oh wait, I typed that wrong. Um, sorry, Octavia. Um, but yeah, if there's any questions
That's
about,
saying we're doing the best we can.
we are doing the best we can, working with what we got.
Yes,
Um,
indeed.
I'll hold for a few seconds while people are thinking. And
I
apologies.
just, it's B. I just want to say how how thorough the information is. It's really, really clear. Um, I I know how you work, Kamaria, so it's a delight to be in a space where you everything is just so very clear and that there is no questions because you have stated it all. So thank you.
Thank you. I'll attribute that to the mama in me. I said what I said. No, I'm just playing. Um, but I appreciate that. Also, if I will put my email in the chat and I will add our contact to the slides. It's in the application, but I forgot to put it on the sides. If folks have questions after this, are watching the recording, or like, wait, she said this, but I'm reading this. Please don't feel bad about emailing and asking us to clarify. I also want to pause here, and I hate to put either of the Stero staff folks on the spot, but as I mentioned at the top of the call, we do have some other deadlines of other pieces for you to engage with HIV is Not a Crime Training Academy. So I don't know if Tammy or Eric want to share either in the chat or come off mute to share those upcoming opportunities before we close out.
I can tell you. So currently we are accepting nominations for our scholarship process for HINAC7. I will drop the link in here. It's a short link. So if you're not aware, you have anyone can apply, any person living with HIV can apply for a scholarship, but before you apply for a scholarship, someone must nominate you, someone from the community, someone from your church or someone from your family. It can be anyone, but they just need to fill out this form that I dropped in the comments. And then after we receive that nomination, we will send you the link to apply for a scholarship. So it's just 3 easy steps, I said. Let's see. Sorry, I can't remember them. 3 easy steps. Nomination form. Sorry, I'm distracted. Nomination form. Second step is fill out the application, and third step is to accept the application.
Yes.
So, or to accept the scholarship when you win it. So, that's that one. And then, and give me 1 second.
Tammy dropped SPJI in the chat.
Yes, SPJI applications are due this evening at 10 p.m. Eastern time, I believe.
Oh, today is the last day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Today is the last day to nominate for HINAC?
No, this is why, yeah, that's confusing.
Apply for Zero Project Justice Institute. Actually, we're accepting applications no longer, technically, because our cutoff time was 6 p.m. today. But you may still be able to push one in. So, and then, so scholarship nomination forms, we'll accept those until September 27th. And then there is the AMP micro grant. Copy. So the AMP micro grant is a great opportunity for anyone living with HIV to further their work with HIV criminalization. I'm not certain of all the details, but it's quite a bit of money to see out your program. It's a year-long commitment. Yeah, and I don't know if Tammy or Kamaria can say more about it.
Yeah, so our micro grant is put together by Vive. If you've never applied before, you have the opportunity to apply for up to $10,000. You do not have to be a 501c3 to do so. If you have an idea that leads to a pathway of change around HIV criminalization in your state or for your coalition, we encourage you to apply. If you are a 501c3, Sarah will automatically be the fiscal sponsor of the grant. So you don't have to worry about like having a treasurer and a bank account. Well, you do need a bank account. Yeah, but it's for anybody. Like we try to give opportunity for folks that aren't attached to an organization or are attached to an organization but want to do something on their own and their hands are kind of tied because they haven't been able to raise funds. This is a great opportunity. And I'll also share that if you are a member of the U.S. People Living with HIV Caucus, there is the opportunity to be a part of the steering committee, and that's where a lot of the bulk of the decisions are made around the caucus policy priorities and how we show up in different communities. So applications for that are open until September 8th, and the link for that is in the chat as well. What I will do for all these extra things is I will make an extra slide and put them all on a slide to explain, except the Sarah Project Justice Institute, because that application did close at 6 p.m. Eastern today. So there'll be other opportunities. Don't feel like you missed out. There's a lot going on. And honestly, as overwhelming as it may sound, Sarah is really grateful that we can offer these opportunities to community, so that folks still feel like they're contributing to something. They're still doing something in this work, despite what our current administration is telling us we can do. We can still fight, y'all. So just a recap of deadlines. Thank you so much, Eric. And thank you, Tammy, for putting these in the chat. Scholarship nominations, September 27th, cutoff. AMP microgrant, September 30th, cutoff. HINAC7 scholarship application, if you fill out the nomination part, the cutoff for that is October 15th. And then the art contest ends on March 19th, 2027. So yeah, with that, I'll ask again for any Q&A. And if not, we can end this. And as soon as the recording is available, I will send that out. Yes, Stacy?
Hey, so during the nominations, is there a resume needed when you're nominating someone for the scholarship?
I am not on that committee, so I have not seen the form and I do not know. Tammy, is there a resume required?
No, there is just the application that the nominator fills out the top part about themselves. And then the second section is about the person that they're nominating, but there is no place for a resume.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure because someone asked me for my resume. So I just wanted to clarify that. I mean, I wouldn't mind sending them a resume, but I haven't seen it yet. All right, well, thanks for clarifying that. That's all I have.
And
No problem.
also, I'll add, be sure that the person nominating you has your email address. That's really important. So be sure to let them know that what your email address is.
Yeah, thank you so much for that, Eric. It is
Sounds
critical
good.
that we have, if you have multiple email addresses or you use different things for different spaces, one, we encourage you to check all of them. Sometimes people don't tell people that they nominated someone. So when we follow up to let you know you were nominated to give you the scholarship application link, we're given the wrong email sometimes. And so then there's confusion of, well, I never got the applications, because we can only send it to the email that we have. So if you're nominating someone, please make sure you have the right email. And if you know someone's nominating you, have them follow up with you as well. So with that, I want to give many thanks and gratitude to everybody working on all the different parts. I know multiple calls are taking place right now. Special thank you to Octavia as co-chair of this space, keeping me accountable with deadlines and the right dates and making sure all the moving pieces leading up to HINAC in person are fantastic. I'm super grateful for all of you. Have a great night. I hope that whatever you need to get through the rest of this week finds you and holds you tightly, and that you are taking care of yourselves. With that, I will end the call.
Have a great evening, everyone.
Good night,
Have a
everyone.
good evening.